Let me tell you about a conversation I had recently with a pre-seed investor. I asked them, what's the fastest way to kill your chances of getting funded? Their answer? Show up with just an idea and a pitch deck. They told me that in 2025, startups that showed up with an MVP plus meaningful user traction closed seed rounds at about 50% success rate. Startups with just an MVP and no traction, 35%. And idea-only pitches, 15%. The math is brutal but clear. If you want to raise money in 2026, you need more than a vision. You need proof that your vision works. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build an MVP that makes investors say yes. Let me get into the head of an investor for a minute. When they look at an early-stage startup, they're trying to answer three questions. 1. Is this team capable of executing? 2. Is there real demand for this product? 3. Can this scale? Now, how do you answer those questions without a massive track record or millions in revenue? You show them a working product with real users. An investor-ready MVP demonstrates that you can ship, that you understand your market, and that you've de-risked the biggest unknowns. Here's what that looks like in practice. First, your MVP should solve one specific problem very well. Investors don't want to see feature lists, they want to see focus. Second, you should have real users, even if it's just 20 or 50. And you should know their behavior intimately. How often do they use it? What do they love? What do they complain about? Third, you should have some signal of willingness to pay. This could be actual revenue, or it could be users who've said they'd pay when you're ready to charge. Fourth, you should understand your unit economics, at least directionally. What does it cost to acquire a customer? What could you charge them? Is the math viable? Fifth, and this is underrated, your MVP should be built on a foundation that can scale. You don't need enterprise infrastructure, but you need to show you're thinking about the future. Now let me talk about something that's massive in 2026, AI readiness. Investors are specifically looking for startups that are integrating AI intelligently. Not AI for the sake of AI. AI that creates real competitive advantage. Here's why this matters for your MVP. If you can show that you've validated AI functionality early, you've de-risked one of the biggest question marks investors have. Does the AI actually work? Does it improve the user experience? Is the data strategy sound? An AI-powered MVP shows technical feasibility that you can actually build with AI. User validation that people respond positively to AI features. Data strategy that you're thinking about how to improve models over time. Now, this doesn't mean you need to build your own models. Most MVPs can leverage existing APIs from OpenAI, Anthropic, or other providers. The key is showing that you understand how AI fits into your product and how it creates value for users. For example, a SaaS that helps sales teams write emails could use AI to generate first drafts. The MVP tests whether users actually find that valuable, what kinds of prompts work best, and how much time it saves. That's meaningful validation that makes investors comfortable. Here's the tension every founder faces. You want to move fast to validate quickly, but you also want to show investors that you're building something real, not just a prototype that will break at scale. Let me give you a framework for threading that needle. First, choose a tech stack that's proven and scalable. For web apps, React or Next.js on the front end, Node or Python on the back end, Postgres for your database. These are boring choices. That's the point. Investors know these technologies work at scale. Second, build modular architecture from day one. Even in your MVP, separate concerns cleanly. API layer here, business logic there, data layer somewhere else. This shows you're thinking about the future without over-engineering the present. Third, implement basic security and compliance. Strong password policies, least privilege access, clean handling of customer data. Investors will ask about this. have a good answer. Use analytics tools to track how users behave. When investors ask about engagement or retention, you should have real numbers, not guesses. Fifth, consider working with an MVP development partner. For founders without deep technical teams, partnering with a specialized agency can actually increase investor confidence. It shows you can attract talent and make smart decisions about resource allocation. Let's talk about metrics. Investors have seen thousands of pitches. They know how to cut through fluff and find signal. Here are the MVP metrics that actually move the needle. User activation rate. What percentage of signups actually use your core feature? If people sign up and never come back, you have a problem. Engagement frequency. How often do users come back? Daily, weekly, monthly? This tells investors whether you're a habit or a one-time thing. Retention curve. Do users stick around after week 1, week 4, month 2? A flattening retention curve is one of the strongest signals of product market fit. Net Promoter Score. Would users recommend you? This is a simple question that reveals a lot about product quality, revenue, or willingness to pay. Even if your MVP is free, you should be testing price sensitivity. How much would users pay? What features would they pay more for? Customer acquisition cost. At least directionally, how hard is it to get users? Where do they come from? And here's a pro tip. Don't just track these metrics. Tell a story with them. We launched 6 weeks ago, acquired 300 users through cold outreach, 40% activated in the first day, and our week 4 retention is 28%. That's a story. When you walk into an investor meeting with a working MVP and real metrics, something shifts. Instead of defending theoretical assumptions, you're discussing real results. Instead of promising you can execute, you're proving it. Instead of asking investors to imagine, you're showing them. This changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. Suddenly, the investor isn't evaluating whether your idea might work. They're evaluating how big this could get and how they can help you scale. And honestly, that's a much better conversation to have. The MVP also helps you as a founder. The process of building and shipping forces you to answer hard questions. It reveals what you don't know. It makes you smarter about your market, your product, and your business model. By the time you pitch, you'll know your stuff at a level that comes through in every answer you give. So here's the bottom line. If you're planning to raise funding in 2026, your MVP isn't optional. It's your proof point. And the good news is, you can build one faster than ever before. The tools are better. The frameworks are proven. The playbooks exist. What you need is a clear path from where you are now to a product that investors will take seriously. That's exactly what I'd love to help you figure out. DM me right now. Let's set up a 15-minute call to talk about your idea, your funding timeline, and what an investor-ready MVP looks like for your specific situation. I've helped founders navigate this path. I know what works, what doesn't, and what investors are actually looking for. No pitch, no pressure, just a real conversation to help you take the right next step. So DM me now. Let's talk about turning your idea into something fundable. Because the founders who win aren't the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who prove those ideas work. Let's make sure you're one of them.